Hey everyone, Attorney Davis Yance here. Listen, I wanted to do a quick reaction video to a story that came out this week related to the Pulitzer Prize. Now, I know that I normally do videos related to military law or related to national defense policy, religious freedom, and other things, but I take a special interest in the Pulitzer. My wife is an award-winning author, and so every year we talk about the Pulitzer, who won it for what book, and also who won it in the realm of journalism. So this year, in case you missed it, ProPublica won a Pulitzer for an award-winning series related to abortion laws. Essentially, if you take the series as a whole, it creates this picture that the United States Supreme Court and certain states, because of their abortion laws, are essentially murdering women. So I wanted to talk about that, and I just wanted to react to the information that ProPublica put out. So again, the original story is a story from last year, but they just won a Pulitzer Prize this week. So I want to play for you sort of their description of this story, the basic facts of this story directly from ProPublica, and then we'll react to that. Here we go.
Amber Thurman died in 2022 after she was unable to get a legal abortion in Georgia and did not receive timely medical care. The state's Maternal Mortality Review Committee recently concluded that her death was preventable. Amber showed up at the Piedmont Henry Hospital after she'd taken abortion pills and experienced a rare complication. She had not expelled all of the fetal tissue from her body. She was in need of a D&C, a routine procedure to clear the tissue from her uterus. But just that summer, her state criminalized the procedure. Any doctor who violated the new law could face up to a decade in prison. Amber waited in pain in a hospital bed as doctors monitored her infection spreading, her blood pressure sinking, and her organs beginning to fail. It took
All right, so we see from this video, it sounds like a tragic story where doctors were not allowed to perform life-saving procedures for this woman because of Georgia law. The problem is that's not accurate, and it just jumps over the fact that what actually caused her death was complications from taking abortion pills. So again, there's a couple of pieces of this. Let's just break down the law really quickly. In Georgia, in fact, there is no state within the United States where it is illegal for a woman to obtain abortion pills. So pills that are supposed to end a pregnancy. Those pills have risks that are often glossed over when women go in for treatment. And in this case, this woman died because of a rare, supposedly rare complication from the abortion pills. But this journalist, so-called journalist, is trying to blame the doctors at the hospital and say they couldn't perform a D&C, which is a routine procedure after a miscarriage or other complications in a pregnancy, and the child has already passed away. But she claims they couldn't perform this D&C procedure, a routine procedure, in this hospital because of Georgia law. That's simply not true. There is no state that has a law that would prevent a routine D&C. The other thing about this, it doesn't come up in this video, but you will learn that not once ever did ProPublica get a comment or actually ask the doctors at the hospital while they waited. So again, what we see here is a journalist conflating these issues. And what is crazy about this story is they won a Pulitzer Prize for this. So I just want to finish up the video here so you can see the final emotional appeal that's made as we go through this.
It took doctors 20 hours to finally operate. By then, it was too late.
Okay, so this story wins a Pulitzer Prize, and the emphasis is on, oh, they waited 20 hours, and it speculates that's because the doctors were afraid to perform this surgery. There's just no truth in that aspect of this. The crazy part of this is even before we get to the Pulitzer competition, last September, The Hill did a story on this. They talked about ProPublica's abortion disinformation goes national. And in this story from last September, this quote, look at this quote. It says, if they handed out awards for the sleaziest news operation, ProPublica would give even the lowest brow tabloid a run for its money. So I encourage you to check out the story that The Hill wrote in September of last year that predates this Pulitzer Prize. So listen, I wanted to respond to this. I wanted to respond to the fact that ProPublica won a Pulitzer for this, because this is the type of 1984 disinformation and misinformation that is pumped out. And a lot of people are going to hear, oh, ProPublica did this story. Essentially, the Supreme Court and conservative states were murdering women. That's what it feels like when you listen or read these stories. And that's simply not true. Unfortunately, Amber Thurman tragically died in a preventable death, but the cause of death was actually the abortion pill. So I would urge any of you, when you see stories like this, when you hear something about the Pulitzer Prize, take the time to understand what the law actually is. And this narrative that abortion laws in these states are killing women are simply not true. Also, the narrative that these abortion pills are not without complications is simply not true. So read the Hill article and you'll see. They never talk to the doctors. They never explain how or why a DNC, a routine procedure done under certain circumstances, would be illegal in Georgia or any other state. And the fact of the matter is it would not be. And there's no doctor on record that has actually said they have hesitated to perform one of these proceedings. So my word of caution, doesn't matter whether it's an organization like the Pulitzer or anything else. Don't check common sense at the door. Don't fall prey to these emotional appeals. And remember that the truth is there, but there are some in our society who will do and say anything to mislead people if they think it helps their political cause. Thanks. Take care.